What is it today? Yep, the 27th of May 2023. We're departing Terrace Bay to our next stop, Desert Elephant Camp. Note the elephant in the name. Can the world take a hint? It's 202 kilometres and it will be rooftop tent time again. We actually tried to book into a different camp, but it was full and we're going to the overflow camp. Much of the trip will be back over the roads we've already travelled, not that that's a problem. I could use another dose of that scenery. The camp is tucked into this semicircle of hills. We have the first camp on the left, not the one below the D in Desert Elephant, but the one below that. The two guys that are managing the camp told us that elephants do come through here. They take the gap in the hills at the top leftish of the picture as a shortcut. So it's up early and back to the restaurant for breakfast. Yes, it's early and cold, nothing that some bacon, eggs and toast can't fix. Oh, I forgot coffee. As the sun comes up, the view becomes clearer. Foggy and overcast, but that will clear once we head away from the coast. I found these pictures on the notice board of some of the fish caught here. No statistics on the top one, but the one below on the sheet marked Kabeljau is 60 kilos and 1.82 metres long. Kabeljau is just another name for cob or mulloway. Have to say that even though I'm a fisher, I don't like seeing these big specimens killed. Maybe it's just me. Get some fuel at the Puma petrol station. This tin shed is it. Just got 50 litres to see us through to the next big town. It was expensive here. Both of my cards got declined, so I had to pay cash. That just about cleaned us out cash-wise. The 50 litres also seemed to get used up faster than I expected. Something funny going on here? We went down to the sunny tropical beach to get some pictures. That in the background is pretty much the whole of Terrace Bay. You have this big communications mast, the old warehouses and shed, etc., and the resort. There is a small shop in one of the warehouses. I wasn't able to find out what these concrete piers were for, an old jetty or something maybe. As I mentioned before, the coast looks like Iceland or somewhere like that, not the African tropics. It's cold and forbidding, but beautiful in its own way. I'm glad I scratched the itch to come here. Heading back south out of town, the wind has dropped and we can actually see. The landscape and sky look weird and alien. I take the chance to take a short detour to the beach. It's not far, only a few hundred metres. This is a fishing spot called Cement Block. No, it's not bad spelling, it's Afrikaans. And up here, I suppose, is the famous Cement Block.
The sound the waves make as the ball pebbles back is weird. I don't know if it'll go on this.
As we proceed down to our turn-off, the scenery remains alien in the morning gloom. Not far before we have to turn off and head east back to the park gate, we come to Terrace Bay. This is another fishing camp, but there's no resort here, only the campground. One of the first YouTube videos I ever watched was a guy that drove up here from Spitzkoppe on what was then just the two wheel ruts that pretended to be the road. These are the same ablution blocks as in the video, but then they were just wind-blasted concrete. They're the perfect design for the harsh climate here with the wind-blown sand. There is no water for trees or plants, so this is where you park yourself to go fishing. Once we turn east away from the coast, the weather improves, although today it's hazy. Not used to that. We found more of those welwitschia plants that we saw on the way up. These ones are probably better. I don't know how we didn't spot them before. They look like aliens slowly crawling across the landscape. We continue back to the east and the hills. This is the Khowarib River quite close to the park gate and the ranger's post. I suppose it's like the rivers in northern WA. No surface water, but they probably have a bore down in the riverbed to get water for the ranger station. As you can imagine, there are no towns or villages out here. Once we reach the hills, the landscape changes. There is grass and bushes and the occasional small town along this stretch. Angela spots this giraffe off the side of the road, munching away on the sparse trees. We think it's a lone male. If there were others around, we didn't see them. We finally get to our camp. The last stretch is over one of the nicest sealed stretches of road we have seen so far. I think because there are a few upmarket resorts in this area and the clients don't want the Africa massage experience. The yellow building on the left is our toilet and shower, not shared. It's for our campsite only. The orange shade cloth roof is over our outdoor area, which has a barbecue and a sink with cold running water. Oh, to the left of the shower building, up on the rocks, is our donkey boiler. This is a zero-pressure wood-fired water heater that you see everywhere in the camps. This one is a 44-gallon drum, but we've seen them made of old gas bottles and all sorts of things. They need a bit of skill to get the water warm but not boiling. The two guys running the camp dropped off some wood and lit the fire under the boiler, giving me instructions on how to keep the fire low so as to make it last and not overheat the water. The ute they had was a bit second-hand. Obviously rolled at some stage with the windscreen comprehensively shattered and the roof askew. It also wouldn't start. We joined in giving it a push and we thought they were a bit surprised that some camp clients would get their hands dirty bump starting their dead ute. We felt a bit spoilt, this nice big area just for us. The site next door to us was occupied, but you can see it's quite a distance from us. As the afternoon drew on, we went on elephant watch. No luck. Too many bushes for them to hide behind. I tried to get some pictures of the local birds. This is a hornbill. Haven't seen them before. Then the couple from the site next door came tromping through, talking nice and loud when you have to when it's so effing quiet. The hornbill went away. Did see this rock dassie though. They're still mega cute. Chilled out, checked the camera, got mugged by a chickie babe with a phone, pictures for social media and all that. Gee, we look like we're hating this. There is mobile coverage here, probably due to the big resort over the road, but no bungee jumping, no bar, it's still under construction, no zip lines or adventure activities. It's perfect just to chill with some chips and a cider and listen to the sounds of nothing. The following day we up stakes and head off to our next destination, Khowarib Camp. We're going to head a bit further to Sesfontein to see if there's an ATM there. There isn't. It's pretty small, although it's the biggest town in the area. If you plugged in your phone charger, the streetlights would go dim. There's a small basic shop there and a petrol station that's seen better days. We're lower on fuel than I'm strictly comfortable with, but we have 2 days at Khowarib. We're not going anywhere, just chilling in camp. The next stop will be Opuo, which is quite a big place according to Google Maps and has a couple of ATMs, several petrol stations and at least 2 supermarkets. That'll be our next and last stock-up stop. Once we get to Opuo, we're in the home stretch, sort of. We have to travel back along the same road as yesterday and we find that giraffe is still there, about 1 kilometre from where we saw him yesterday. As we head north, we see the mountain range where our next camp is off in the distance. There's a big fire somewhere and we'll have to eventually pass through the smoke. We find more giraffes. This is a small herd. Giraffes have perfected the "what the F are you looking at" stare. I love them. They're pretty docile and way bigger than they look in the zoo. After a quick look at Sesfontaine, we double back to the turn-off to Khowarib Camp. It's a short drive along the steep valley of the Khowarib River to reception. When we get there, we're offered a drink, which is a bit unusual as we're camping and you normally only get a drink if you're staying in a chalet. We mentioned this and they say the drinks are for us. Turns out we're the wrong people. Can't have the drinks back, we've finished them. Mango and banana, yum. Anyway, we get directions to our campsite. It's on the bank above the river. I think we have the second best campsite of the lot. That roof in the background is the bar where you can get drinks and meals. Although we're tenting here, we plan to eat out tomorrow. We have a small shady area with a table and a kitchen overlooking the river. The boss is settling in for tea and bickies. I start to boil some water and ponder the river situation. When we crossed it, it was about 4 kilometres downstream and there was no water, just a sandy, dry riverbed. But here there's not only water, it's clear and flowing quite strongly. That water pipe takes water from the river to Khowarib town and probably Sesfontaine as well. I'm mystified, and eventually when I found out the answer, my gob is no less smacked. It turns out this stretch of water flowing is only a few kilometres long. Downstream at the main road it's dry, and upstream it's dry as well. There are a couple of spots like this on the river. I'll be scuppered. The sun starts to set and it begins to get cool. The bats put on a display. At first there are a few and then hundreds. They're quite large, but they're not flying foxes. We look down onto the river and they're zooming along the top of the water, probably catching insects. Too dark for photos. I tried, but nothing came out. Sorry. The sun rose over the mountains the next day. It's going to be warm and clear and we're going nowhere. We go up to the bar for breakfast and the power is off. Dang. They're laying a new cable for some extra shallows they're building and the power will be off all day. Back to self-catering then. We amuse ourselves with photographing the birds, doing crosswords, cups of tea and generally doing bugger all. I take a stroll up the river to see if I can find where the water is coming from. No luck, but it's really quite a beautiful sight. Tomorrow we are off to Opuo, one of the biggest towns in the area. This north-central part of Namibia has more people than a lot of the areas we've passed through and is more African. We've seen a few traditional villages and people herding goats already. At a small settlement called Palmwag, we saw some Himba ladies with their elaborate hairstyles and red all-body makeup. One of the young women there had hair down to her calves. Again, sorry, no photos. I wish I had, but I don't want to stick a camera in people's faces when you don't have a chance to okay it with them first. Google Himba hairstyles if you're curious. See you next time in Opuo. Thanks for watching.